Good evening everyone, Mike Palmer from Know Your Rights Group and Success Coaching International with another important live video update tonight. What I really want to focus on tonight is keeping things in perspective, okay? There's a couple of points that I want to touch on, and of course the mainstream media is very one-sided, only ever gives you the angle that they want you to see. So I want to try and help balance things out a little bit for people, because some people are not getting frustrated enough about things that I believe they should be, and other people seem to be overreacting to things that perhaps aren't as big a deal as what they think. And that's probably the first point I want to touch on tonight. This is a post that's been doing the rounds on social media entitled "Christmas Lockdown for Victoria." Now, I don't believe that's actually correct. I don't believe that people are drawing the right conclusion from this article. So I'll just read the relevant bits. So this is, apparently this is some jobs that have been posted online from the government. These positions are available starting in November. And it talks about the crucial task of monitoring and maintaining COVID-19 restrictions in both city-based businesses and hotel quarantine activities. You'll help ensure business owners and individuals comply with the requirements of the Public Health and Wellbeing Act. It goes on to say you'll be conducting in-person visits and workplace inspections as part of COVID-19 contact tracing activities. Includes investigation and breaches. So it's saying these positions are going to start in November, and there's jobs available through till March 2021, and people are suggesting that means therefore that all of Melbourne's going to be in lockdown over Christmas. Now again, I don't believe that's correct. I believe what they are planning on doing is indeed eventually at some point, clearly not next week as we'll get to in a minute, opening up businesses, but they're really going to be putting people out there, these offices, and ensuring that people and businesses have their COVID safe plans in place and that they're being adhered to and all that kind of thing. So I don't believe that it means that we're all going to be suffering lockdown throughout Christmas. So don't buy into the fear. You've got to understand, this is the #1 tool for the government and the police, and the mainstream media are right there behind it, pushing that agenda, that fear. Remember, fear simply stands for, among other things I know, false evidence appearing real. Okay? Now the media keep pushing, if you go out without your mask, you're going to get a fine. Okay? But there's plenty of people out there without masks who don't get fines all the time. Okay? Now apparently the new restrictions, the increased restrictions come in from midnight tonight that you can't wear your bandanas and scarves and whatnot. It has to be a proper fitted mask. Well, we'll see. Don't buy into the fear. Okay, the media tells you, you can't go, more than 5 kilometres from your home. They want everybody locked down. I know plenty of people that go a lot more than 5 kilometres away from their home quite regularly. So don't buy into the fear, because this is the #1 thing for me. As I say, I'm from Know Your Rights Group, but I'm also from Success Coaching International. That's my passion. Okay, is helping people, eliminate their fear and stand in their own true personal power. When you eliminate the fear, when you don't live in that fear or worry of something happening to you, okay, there's no power over you, and you can exude and live in your own true personal power. And that's just something that's so hard to really get across through these videos. But any of you out there watching, who've done this, who've read the websites, who've gone through the books, who've understand, who've challenge fines, all those kind of things, will truly understand what a freeing experience that really is. And this is why I urge people, please go to the websites. There's links in the description, wherever that happens to be. Go to the website. There's plenty of free info. People go, I can't afford your books. Your books are too expensive. Okay, don't get the books if you can't afford them. There's plenty of free info. But if you do want to know the truth, you do want to know, about your rights, and you do want to know how to stand up for them and eliminate fear, please grab these books. They are an absolutely invaluable resource. That's all I'm going to say about them tonight, because I've said a million things about them over the past few months, but the info is really, really powerful. So it's freeing people from that fear, which is what I'm really all about. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about is, again, I've spoken to quite a few people over this weekend who were out and about. They were enjoying the lovely weather that we had here in Melbourne. They were down the beaches, they were down the parks, and living their lives, freely as normal, which is fantastic. But what was very interesting and very exciting is I heard a number of reports where there were a number of police officers out and about without their masks on. And that is fantastic. But not only that, the police were walking past these other people who also didn't have masks on, and they were completely leaving them alone and not harassing them in any way. So that is absolutely fantastic news. It is great to see that people are waking up. It's great to see that people are not, allowing these flimsy little pieces of paper to control their lives, and especially when it's the actual enforcers doing so. And I hope that obviously, at least in some small part, the video that I did a month or so ago, which was entitled "An Important Message for All Policy Enforcers," has played at least a little bit of a small role in that. Now, please, if you haven't seen it, if you know a police officer or anyone like that, and they may not have seen it, again, it's called "An Important Message for All Policy Enforcers," and it is, of course, available to watch on our YouTube channel and our BitChute channel as well. Now, the other super exciting thing that I saw, even myself with my own very eyes this weekend, was a plane that was circling around the bay, and it had a great big message on it saying "Sack Dan Andrews and scrap omnibus." Now that was just fantastic. Just lit up my face. I just happened to be out and looked up and saw it at the right time, and it was brilliant. So absolutely, I have no idea who put it together, but kudos to whoever organised that. That is fantastic, and that's the thing that gets people thinking about that stuff. They see this plane, they say, "Oh, did you see that banner? Did you see that message?" People start talking about, and that's fantastic. That's what we need more of. People going out and doing these crazy things to get the message out there, because people are really getting sick to death of Dan Andrews and his completely disproportionate response. Okay, and this is what the problem is now. And this again is where I really want to bring back some true perspective. Because let's not forget that we, okay, and when I say we, I'm talking about the whole world collectively, has just seen a man, okay, who is in one of the highest risk categories, okay, 74 years old, he's overweight, he's working crazy hours, he's not getting enough rest, he just tested positive for COVID-19, and all of a sudden, 2 days later, he's fully recovered, a week later, he's completely back to normal. Now, if you haven't connected the dots, I'm obviously talking about President Trump, okay? So, I mean, here you have a guy who is in the high-risk category, done and dusted in 2 days. And he's come out saying, "Do not be afraid of this virus, it is no big deal," okay? So let's keep things in perspective. Okay, now if that one example doesn't, put the dangers of this virus into true perspective for you, then I really don't know what will. Okay, now Andrews keeps prattling on about the numbers and the science, yet the World Health Organization has come out and is again urging countries not to use lockdowns as a strategy for dealing with COVID-19. Or sorry, for the fact checkers on YouTube who will no doubt want to try and remove this video as well, not to use it as the primary strategy. So here is the article, okay? I'll read out the title for you. It's called "WHO Official Urges World Leaders to Stop Using Lockdowns as Primary Virus Control Method." The World Health Organization's Special Envoy on COVID-19 urged world leaders this week to stop using lockdowns as your primary control method. "We in the World Health Organization do not advocate lockdowns as the primary means of control of the virus," Dr. David Nabarro said to the Spectator's Andrew Neil. "The only time we believe a lockdown is justified is to buy you time to reorganize, regroup, rebalance your resources, protect your health workers who are exhausted, but by and large, we'd rather not do it." Now again, keeping things in perspective, in Melbourne we have been in lockdown for over 200 days. Okay, 200 days. Okay, that is completely contrary to the advice and the science from the World Health Organization. Now again, because that is such an important article, I have put it up on our vaccinations page. So just go to our vaccinations page, just knowyourrightsgroup.com.au/vaccinations. Scroll down about halfway or so, and the subsection there is "Lockdowns are unlawful," And look there, you'll see a link to it in that section. Now, I would urge you all, download a copy of that article, okay, and forward a copy on to Dan Andrews and to your state MPs, members of parliament, and ask them why are they deliberately contradicting the science and the recommendations from the so-called highest medical authority in the world. We need to start asking the right questions, and we all need to be doing this collectively. Okay, again, continued closures are disproportionate to the claimed danger. And especially here in Melbourne, they're disproportionate to the strategies being implemented in other states, okay, with similar figures. Yes, Melbourne does have higher figures than other states, okay, but we're not in the hundreds, 500, 700 cases that we were months ago. We're down into the tens and 15s of cases, okay? The numbers have significantly decreased, yet our restrictions remain the same. There should be a significant easing of restrictions, and that is just not happening. Okay, and yet the ramifications of keeping these same restrictions in place, the increase in suicides, the increased financial implications, the loneliness, the stress, all these things that you can't measure and put a figure on, are continuing to increase because those restrictions have really, in essence, not been eased in any way, and in fact they've been significantly increased since only a few months ago. We need to start reopening our businesses and returning to normal now, not in another week, not in another fortnight, not in another month. We need to do it now, and the best way to do that is for you, the people, to keep the pressure on. Keep writing to your members of parliament. Keep urging them to express your will on the floor of Parliament and urge the Premier to ease those restrictions immediately. Now, unfortunately, at this stage, with what Dan Andrews has come out and said this afternoon, okay, is that maybe a few more outdoor type businesses will be able to open up. The 5 kilometre rule is probably only going to be eased to something like 10 kilometres. Okay, they're saying it'll be eased, but the media is not telling you the truth. He's not going to scrap that 5 kilometre rule. He's only going to open it up a little bit more. Okay, and you might be able to visit with a few more people, but the problem is if that 5K or potentially 10K restriction isn't lifted, most people are still not going to be able to interact with family and friends who live more than 10Ks away. Okay, and if some businesses are able to open up, okay, but people can only travel 5 or 10Ks to go and attend those businesses, it's not going to be financially viable for them to reopen, and it's going to only actually cause increased frustration and increased suffering. So again, please keep the pressure on. Remind your members of parliament that they exist to do your bidding, not the other way around. Okay, we are still supposedly living in a democracy. Okay, despite what Dan the dumbass said on one of his recent press conferences, he says, oh, I'm not here to do what's popular. Actually, mate, that's exactly what you're here to do in a democracy. You are exactly here to do what's popular. So it's up to we, the people, it's up to us to explain to Dan Andrews what we want done. Okay, because the numbers speak, as he keeps saying. So the number of people that need to write has to go through the roof, and we need to tell this guy, we want the state, the whole state, including Melbourne, to open back up now and force him to do so. Okay, let's not forget that the remainder of the omnibus bill is still going to Parliament this coming week. Okay, now the worst bit of that bill was scrapped, and that's fantastic, but there's no need for any of it. Our numbers have plummeted. So why are they even talking about increased powers for other people? Why are they talking about further restrictions with this bill? The whole bill needs to be scrapped, and you guys need to make that fact known to your members of parliament. So please keep the pressure on. Okay, now the final point that I want to make while we're speaking of emails, I've said this before, but the message doesn't seem to be getting through. Please, 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 I implore you, stop sending messages through Facebook Messenger. Okay, unless it's a simple thing like where's the link to buy the books, okay, our admin cannot answer those questions. So they just go unanswered and people get all upset, oh, I posted messages, heaps of messages on Messenger, but no one answered them. That's right. those Facebook Messenger messages do not get answered, please don't post them there, and that way that will save you getting upset or frustrated when they're not answered. If you need to ask us a question, email us, okay? There's a link on the website. No, we deliberately don't make it easy to find because there's only so much we can handle. But if it's important, email us, and as and when we can, we'll get back to it. All right, so I'm going to leave things there for tonight. I want to let everybody know we have a super exciting show coming up on Tuesday night. We are going to be speaking live to two people, not one, but two people that have escaped the cult of Dan. They are out of the Victorian prisoner island. Okay, they've got out and they're going to tell you their story live on Tuesday night. So please make sure you don't miss that. Just go to knowyourrightsgroup.com.au/radio-show. Remember, it's on at 8 o'clock, and that's a daylight savings time on Tuesday, and that runs from 8 till 10 p.m. So I look forward to talking to you all on Tuesday night, sharing that amazing story with you. Until then, as always, please go to those websites, get informed, get fired up, and get proactive. Talk to you Tuesday.